Ladies and gentlemen, we're going with an old school intro. We're going with there's like way too much enthusiasm. There's way too much yelling. There's way too much screaming. Welcome back to the Yelling and Screaming is Most Enthusiastic Podcast. That's not true, right? Who's a more enthusiastic podcast than the Rage Site Podcast, Michael? What do you
other
think?
people usually.
Really? I listen to a lot of like science podcasts and politics podcasts. There's a lot of just like really like kind of even tone.
Maybe it's the Markipliers or whatever. I don't know if that guy even has a podcast, to be honest.
Yeah, probably Markiplier. Probably
Game Grumps, I guess.
If Markiplier has a podcast, it's probably more enthusiastic than this podcast. But this is the podcast you've chosen. So welcome back to the Rage Site Podcast. Here at Rage Site, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mike.
And wow, Michael, we have a stacked itinerary for today.
Yes.
We got a lot going on today.
Lots of things happen in the world.
Yep. But before we get to that, that fucking Suicide Squad movie came out last week.
The Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
I thought you had to get through you had to get to Suicide Squad 4, and then it's like, right, now you reboot it. It's the Suicide Squad.
The Suicide Squad, The Quest for Peace.
Everybody's old. It's all about how old everybody is now. It's real sad. It's like, the John Rambo of superhero movies.
Okay. The Rocky Balboa.
I it's funny because I've talked to some people left and right. I fucking loved that movie.
I did too.
I thought it was great. I liked it from the beginning to the end. I liked how goddamn violent it was, how violent and vulgar and sweary it was. And I would literally watch John Cena and Idris Elba in any movie that they were in together after watching that movie.
It's such a James Gunn movie more than it is anything else, and it's so much fucking fun.
You know what I thought the other day? I think I said this to Amanda. What it seems like to me is like, this is the Guardians of the Galaxy movie that I would have expected from the James Gunn who made Super and Slither.
Oh, 100%. That's a great way of putting it, actually, yeah.
Where it's like, here's a bunch of wackadoodles you never heard of, but they all swear and fuck and fight and blow shit up and this terrible rashes and psychosis and
just weird shit going on.
There's a whole part, they do the whole... I don't know if it's supposed to be an homage to Predator when they go into that village.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
an extended montage, and then it gets to the end, and they find out what's actually going on, and I was just like, ooh.
The thing is, I guessed it midway as it's happening, and I'm like, wait, this is probably what's actually happening. And then when it happens, you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
And their reaction is the best as well, because they're just I don't even want to say it because it's such a great line.
So good.
And I don't want to even ruin
You know
that part.
what? A lot of times on this show, I will be like, I watched this movie on Netflix. It was pretty good. It isn't worth signing up for Netflix for. I think that if you don't have HBO Max, especially if they've got one of those bullshit 15-day free trial things or whatever, I think this is totally worth signing up. I think it's worth buying a month of HBO Max just to watch.
It's so fucking good.
It was such a breath of fresh air because I don't know. I feel like I've been just soaking in Marvel, and whether you like Marvel or you don't like Marvel, Marvel does have a sameness to it that we have not really had broken up by any weird DC. I guess we had the Snyder Cut, but that was almost just the moody Marvel, right?
Yeah. Well, the issue comes down to Marvel's finally finished just 10-year long climax.
Yeah.
And now with everything since then, it's it's just kind of
they're ramping back up, and they're doing it
I don't know,
slow.
Yeah, it's I don't know where this is going, kind of thing. Whereas the original one, it straight up told you, hey, we're going to the Avengers, but we're post Endgame.
Yep.
It's just we got Spider-Man and WandaVision and all that stuff. It's just a bunch of random stuff, which is that has some sameness to it, and which is fine for the most part, but I want to be able to like the DC universe. Is really what it comes down to. And the Suicide Squad is the first time since Shazam that I'm I love this world and I want to be in this world and enjoy my time here way more.
It's kind of amazing to me because between this movie and Harley Quinn and I went back and I guess it just came up because I did a search for Harley Quinn on YouTube. I rewatched the trailer for the the Suicide Squad kills the Justice League or whatever.
Oh, yeah, the movie or the game is coming out.
When did Suicide Squad become like the thing from DC? Well, I can answer that question, and let's not go too far off into Michael and Jeff and Zack Snyder territory, but like the stuff they're doing with the main DC properties is uninteresting to me. Like, I'm more interested in Shazam than I was in any of the Superman stuff, right?
Yeah.
So like I like this take more because it was just like, hey, James Gunn, do you want to just come do whatever the fuck you feel like? And he was like, yup.
He's like, hell yeah, I do. It's funny because the Suicide Squad, DC's been trying to make them a thing for a long time.
Yeah.
And I do mean that for like a very long time. Like they showed up in Arrow originally.
They had like 2 animated movies, right?
Yeah, they had 2 animated movies. The ending of Arkham Origins sets up a Suicide Squad thing, which most people forget. And even the ending of the PSP DS game also has more that's adding on to that. But nothing ever happened with it.
Right.
And then they did the animated stuff, and they kept ramping up. And then the climax of that was supposed to be David Ayer's Suicide Squad. And then that fucking did not pan out for them.
Without going into a whole hour-long podcast just about one thing, like, you've read the thing that David Ayer is like,
Yeah,
the studio butchered my movie.
Yeah.
And it's like, right, but I see the actual footage that you shot, and like, like, if you took out all the bad editing and all of the weird soundtrack choices and all of the like kind of goofiness, I feel like what you'd be left with is this really gray, serious, like, look how dark and gritty this shit is, kind of like I guess I don't see the world where like the Ayer cut is any less dark, because all the stuff that they put in to try to make the Suicide Squad like that trailer, to me, is so obvious that it's like superfluous.
Oh no, absolutely.
That, like, my brain could just edit that out, and what you're left with is, you know, what do they call him, like Cholo Joker, and like
because the issue was this Cholo Joker, just like Black Killer Croc, I guess, like guy likes BET or something. And like everything about it, it's like they definitely wanted to still be like the Snyderverse stuff.
Yeah,
and then that wasn't panning out, and then everyone really liked that trailer, like you said. And then they're like, well, we got to turn this grim, dark fucking movie this guy's doing into this like fun, bombastic thing. But it's like you can't change something that's already been finished into something like that. Like,
I mean, you can. You just need like, what was it, like $13 million in 10 years to restore like 8 hours of footage to your movie and put it in 4:3. Obviously, no. I it's weird because I've heard that, and like I guess the thing is that I really like it. I like this thing where Marvel's. I'm not the super happiest with Marvel right now, but like, I like the fact that DC so doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
That they're just like, James Gunn, here's a check. You do what you feel like.
Well, it's how we got Joker. It's just one of those things where it's just like, we don't know how to make a universe, so we keep trying and we keep failing. And then somebody's like, you make a movie.
Right.
And then they do, and then like maybe it works out, like Aquaman or Wonder Woman 1. And then they're like, or Shazam for that matter, and then they'll be like, you make something, and it's just, then they got Joker. Like it's all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
But it's all over the place in a way that's like, I'm interested in whatever happens next.
Well,
because nothing connects.
It's so all over the place that it's like, well, let's roll the dice and see if we got a good one or a bad one.
Yeah.
You know, like,
whereas Avengers is just a consistent thing, but we've gotten to the point where it's just consistency isn't all that interesting as much as it used to be.
Well,
like,
you know, they peaked and like,
well, that's what I mean.
Now
Like
we're
we had the climax, but now everything else is just a consistent whatever.
Right.
Like, if that makes sense. Like, it's very meh at this point. Like, there's some cool stuff in the middle of it. Like, What If just happened. Or the first episode just came out, which I really liked, even though, you know, like Grant said, it is just kind of the same story beats, even if it's a What If story thing. But I still really liked it. But apparently the other ones are really good.
I spent this week, starting on Tuesday, I've been watching one Rebuild Evangelion movie a night, and tonight I'll be watching, we're recording this on Thursday, I'll be watching 3.33 so that tomorrow I can watch 3.0 plus 1.0 and finally I've been watching Evangelion since I was in my 20s, and I'm fucking 43 now, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe it'll be
about,
maybe they got it figured out this time, maybe this one will be the one.
But yeah, Superman Lois also they came back out of their hiatus. They're the penultimate episode of the season was, this week, so I'm excited for when that ends too.
I need to sit down and take a look at that. Outside of Suicide Squad, anything else going on?
I've been playing Breath of the Wild still.
Okay.
I finished 2 of the Divine Beasts, and I'm on the 3rd one right now, or one of the 3rd ones right now. So I'm on the Garuda area.
I don't feel like I need to ask you, like, so what do you think? Is it like a good game or a bad game? Because I played it and I know it's a good game.
It's a really good game. It's just, like I said, I'm overwhelmed by shit to do, and I find myself having to outsmart the enemies more than actually like fight them.
Yeah.
Like consistently, like I'll walk into a room and I'm like, I'm the king of, I'm dead. Like I just have nothing.
Yep.
Like I keep walking into places, and I haven't found any more of the fairy places, so I can like get more power to upgrade my outfits more. So I just keep walking in with these level 1 upgrade thing and being like, I'm gonna run now because you guys I'm surrounded and there's so many of you, and now I gotta trick this game into letting me kill you in a specific way, which happened to me constantly.
Yeah, that sounds good. I've been playing Kerbal Space Program, and nobody should be surprised by that.
No,
so
I wasn't surprised by that.
Well, you know what? I actually played a little bit of the Great Detective Ace Attorney stuff. Which is really good. Like, it's really, really, really good.
Are you playing it, or did you do that story mode thing that you found?
No, I was playing it. I finally found that if I put the dialogue down to 0.5 seconds before it goes to the next one, that it goes along like at a really nice clip. And if I miss anything, I can always just look at the log and see what I missed.
Okay.
But no, it's really good. It actually I was talking with Amanda about this, where it reminds me of like whenever we play some of these JRPGs or visual novels, how like overwritten they are, where like it's not quite as overwritten as a lot of Japanese dialogue, but then the nice thing is that because it's a mystery, like you're constantly trying to pay attention for clues and try to figure out like what's going on.
Yeah.
So the repeating stuff to you actually is useful in this game because it reminds you of like, did you look at the nightstand hard enough? And you're like, wait a minute, it only has 3 legs. That means I'm the killer, because the first one was that whole first chapter that you and I played is the huge court thing.
Yeah.
And then the second chapter is there's no trial. It's all just the tutorialization of the Herlock Sholmes investigation stuff.
So he shows up in the second chapter.
Yeah. And like, no, it's great. I mean, like all the Phoenix Wrights are delightful. Right.
100%.
They're just so charming and delightful, and the music, the
entire Ace Attorney series is so fucking just magical. Like I keep trying to get people into it, and it's really difficult to explain it to them.
It really is.
Like I almost got Kat into it. I was this fucking close to getting Kat into Ace Attorney.
I bet she would love that shit.
But I couldn't figure out a good way of explaining how the game worked. I was just like, it's good. That's all I can really say. Just play it.
Well, and the cool thing about this one is that you can save anywhere. Like, so the thing is that like if you come to a choice and you want to save scum the choice to make sure you don't get any or if you just like you want to like get down to the last chance that you have and then be like, okay, now I'm going to save and I'm not accepting game over. I'm just going to reload until I figure out the right choice. It's not especially difficult, but it's just so charming. Like I was talking in the Discord a few weeks back about how like just the noise of when the dialogue comes up is pleasant to the ears,
Like just thinking about it makes me happy.
The sound effects, the little bring when like you discover something, and all the music is fucking amazing. The art is really incredible. It's absolutely fantastic. I love the mechanic with Herlock Sholmes. Like I don't really like a lot of the I didn't like a lot of the mechanics that came up in some of the later Phoenix Wrights because they seemed very contrived. But I really
some of them are really difficult.
I really like the Herlock Sholmes thing where it's like he makes a deduction, but it's always the wrong one, and then you have to like fix his assumptions to make the right thing happen. And so well, with all that out of the way, we're gonna have to go a little quick this week. So
we'll try at least.
Yeah, we'll try. I didn't know
every week
where to put this. I was looking. I tried to put the podcast in like a logical order, and like this particular story had there was no place to put it.
Just like the story, almost.
Yeah. Speaking of Idris Elba, apparently Idris Elba is going to be Knuckles in the second Sonic movie.
Right? It's like what the fuck? I don't know. Like, okay. It just makes me kind of laugh because there's an old thing where people were trying to figure out if if Knuckles was black.
Okay.
Like that was just for some reason the Sonic fandom decided that Knuckles was black. But this just sort of proves them right, and I'm okay with that.
I'm of the impression that Idris Elba can just do whatever the fuck he wants. Like I don't care anymore.
That's true.
It's fine. But yeah, and we got this by Idris Elba posting knock knock #Sonic Movie 2 #Knuckles with like a picture of the hand of Knuckles' hand with little spikes on it.
It's so weird. Like it's just like because I now have to hear Ben Schwartz talk to Idris Elba. Like just the idea of the two of them next to each other, just in person in general, is weird. But the idea of them as animated, like a hedgehog and what I guess is an echidna technically, because an echidna does not look like that apparently. So that's going to be an interesting thing.
I mean, Sonic doesn't exactly look like a hedgehog.
Yeah,
you know, it's blue and he wears sneakers. So.
And my ex-roommate brought up a good point, which is that whether or not they're going to keep Tails' voice from the end credits of the first one, because they used, I think, the actual game actor for Tails at the end credits. Apparently,
I didn't watch that movie, so I don't know.
Yeah, there's an after credit scene where Tails shows up.
Spoiler, man!
This was like 2 years ago, man.
How dare you? How dare you, sir? I have not watched a 4-year-old movie. Do not spoil things.
You remember when I tried to convince you and you told me to go fuck myself?
yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
So yeah, Idris Elba is gonna be fucking Knuckles. What the hell?
What a crazy world timeline we're in.
What the hell? It just makes me want, though, to now, like, it opens up the door, though, right? Since he's going to be Knuckles' voice to take Idris Elba lines from other movies.
Oh, yeah.
Like
100%.
Like that Red Letter Media cut where it's all Robert California as Ultron's voice. I just want
the fucking Lizard King.
I want the Luther cut of Sonic the Hedgehog
some
2.
Bloodsport stuff in there, too. Yeah.
God damn, I love that line where he's like, nobody likes to show off. It's so good. It's
dope as fuck.
All right, so that was the amuse-bouche, because we actually had a few kind of big announcement, but just mostly trailer stuff.
Yeah.
We got a Nintendo Indie Direct. I haven't actually looked, Michael. Did you see, or the downvotes crazy like they always are when Nintendo does anything?
Are, yeah.
It's only 1.2 thousand.
Well, it's because it's the indie one, so they some of them had an idea that it wasn't going to be Smash related.
Right. Yeah. That would be really weird if the Nintendo Indie Direct had the announcement of the final Smash character.
If it was from an indie game, maybe. I don't know. That makes sense, right?
Yeah. So there's a lot of interesting stuff in here. We saw Bomb Rush Cyberfunk, which was basically... I think that this has been announced for a little while. It's basically the new Jet Grind Radio.
Yeah. Which I still love the name, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's such it just rolls off the tongue really a lot.
Bomb Rush Cyberfunk.
Yeah.
But
it sounds like a great band name.
Like kind of cell shaded, really bright colors. Looks cool. Looks like it's got some good music in it. Loop Hero is coming to Switch. Everybody loved Loop Hero for like 2 weeks back in the was it, like August or something like that,
something
like October
that,
of last year. Whenever that came out. Shovel Knight. The Shovel Knight puzzle game is coming to Switch, which looks really, really, really weird. It's like, it kind of reminds me of a puzzly fighter kind of thing.
I think that's what they're going for, though. Yeah.
This is all. Hey, look, it's all right here. I could have just looked it up from here. Oh, okay, never mind. We'll do it from the actual Nintendo Direct, because this Polygon article doesn't go in order, and I like to go in order. So, all right, rewind. There was a trailer for a game called Toem that was like a really weird little hand-drawn black and white game that the whole thing is you're supposed to take pictures of stuff. So people will ask you to just like take pictures of stuff, and you'll go take
my pictures of Spider-Man.
Pictures of stuff. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. There's like 100 games like this that I'm not interested in just taking pictures as a mechanic, where it's like, okay,
because there's like Pokemon Snap, there's that one game that we played with where it's like you had like a series of objectives and depending on how you took it, depending on how many points you got. It was a Patreon that we did ages ago.
All
but
right.
that reminds me of this almost, but not as like, cutesy.
Yeah, I don't know. seems fine. I mean, the guys, when they talked about it, they were just like, "Oh, we wanted to have a game where you could relax and chill out and just do whatever." And I'm like, "Nope, that's not my kind of game.
It's not for us.
I need a game with stressful situations that must be resolved." Okay. So Loop Hero is coming to the Switch. We got a new trailer for Far Changing Tides, which is the. I still cannot believe that Far Lone Sails got a sequel. That weird game. Do you even know what that game is?
I can't say I do, to be honest.
I think Chris and I played it a long time ago, and it's like you are this character that has this giant like land ship that is going across like a desert wasteland, and you like go down into it and move levers and do stuff, and it's like a puzzle game. And this one is a big ship, and so you're kind of like traveling across the wasteland in this big ship, and then you'll have to stop and do little puzzles to open gates and stuff like that. The last one was really interesting. It was very, very kind of meditative and I don't know, just kind of crazy. So what the hell? Okay, there we go. But yeah, I find it interesting that this actually shows how discombobulated I was just like, and I think it's coming to the Nintendo Switch. I think that's why and I was like,
who knows though?
Yeah, idiot. That's why
mystery.
You're talking about the indie fucking showcase.
We need to ask Herlock Sholmes about it.
That's right. Necro Barista is coming. Actually, this was interesting because there was a bunch of games that they announced that came out on the day of the Indie Direct.
Oh, okay.
So Necro Barista was one. Amanda and I played Necro Barista. I didn't like it very much. It was just kind of like it was a visual novel. It's about
forgot about it. I remember it being announced a while back.
Yeah,
and I completely forgot about it, and I didn't realize it was like this the way the trailer shows it.
Yeah. It also is this deluxe edition is coming with a thing where you can literally make your own scenes.
That's fun
because the game isn't actually animated; like it's just still pictures of people, and so you can just kind of set all that up.
Just make the stupidest fucking thing you could possibly make.
Yep. We also got Garden Story, which I have not looked into yet. Which is the one where you play like a little grape. You're going around solving like vegetable things, kind of a Harvest Moon puzzle kind of thing. Again, this one seems like it might be a little gentle for my particular taste. Boyfriend Dungeon is out. I've had my eye on Boyfriend Dungeon for a while, which is a game that has like kind of a third person action slashy part, but then all of the weapons in the game are people that you can go date. Like the swords turn into hot dudes that you could take to the club and bang and stuff. So,
oh my god.
Yeah, which I thought, that's an interesting concept. And then it came out and I was like, I don't know.
Because you weren't sure if you could get that beefcake is what you're saying.
Well, there's that. The thing that I didn't know about it, though, I consider this a PSA to everyone listening, is that apparently Boyfriend Dungeon is also on Game Pass, and it was free, and I fucking paid for it on the Switch like a dolt, like a fucking moron.
You got to support them peoples.
Axiom Verge 2 came out. Like, it just straight up dropped from this indie thing. So, Amanda and I played that too, and I didn't like it but then I'm not entirely sure whether I don't remember whether like the first I don't know if I liked the first game just because it was an indie game and there wasn't like a lot of Metroidvanias at the time, whether we were just in like there's like 3.
It's possible, yeah. That was there was a dry spell of Metroidvania games for a while.
So I mean, I never went back and played the original Axiom Verge, but it is out, and that's pretty cool. Let's see. From there, they showed Pocket Dungeon, the Shovel Knight Pocket Dungeon, which is kind of interesting. I mean, it reminds me a lot of that. What was that game that you and I played where it was like the Chucklefish game?
The one where like it just annihilates people.
Cappy,
or
yeah, where we're like the miner, and then you were just blowing up like a billion.
It was on sale not that long ago. I almost bought it, and I was like, no, I'm gonna become addicted to this fucking thing if I do.
Yeah. So that game's coming out a little bit later this year. Let's see. From there, we got Islanders Console Edition, which is like some kind of, I don't know, it reminds me a lot of Populous, like making farms.
I can see that, yeah.
You got to build up this meter, and then when you build up meters, you can go to the next island and put a bunch of people there. And I was just like, why?
People like that sort of thing.
I guess. I suppose.
It's an indie game, though, so only some people like that sort of thing.
I suppose. Let's see. There's a new trailer for Metal Slug Tactics, that it is coming to the Switch, and they just showed a little bit of it. They did show a kind of like a little chain attack segment where if you got people that are all like pointed at the same thing, then they'll do multiple hits.
I'm still not sure how to feel about this game. Every time I see it, I'm like, I love me some Metal Slug, but I don't know if I'm going to love me some Tactics Metal Slug.
But you don't play tactics games, so...
yeah, that's the thing. I'm not a huge Tactics guy, but I like Metal Slug a lot, so I might just give it a shot. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. You played Mario Rabbids, right?
That's true, yeah.
That was a
I really
Tactics
like
game.
that game.
Let's see. Tetris Effect is, I believe, out. I believe it came out today on the Switch, and it's the like enhanced edition that has like the multiplayer and co-op and all kinds of weird shit. So if you're into Tetris, boom, that's
the
good.
Tetris Effect, I remember being a really good game.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Very, very much a what's the word I'm looking for? Seizure-tastic kind of visuals is the main reason I've never played it, because I got a headache the first time I ever did it.
Did you play it in VR?
Oh, no.
Two headaches at the same time.
Fuck that.
October 8th is when Tetris Effect is coming to the Switch. And then let's see. I think that from there was kind of just some this is the montage. Astroneer is coming
popular.
a little later. What's that?
It's very popular with Let's Players.
Is it?
Yeah, I see people because it's like it's a co-op one, so I see a lot of like Let's Players like get a bunch of guys together and then fuck around on it.
I think I played that game with Brian Salisbury, and he was just like, "Boo, I don't like this one." I was like, "All right."
Yeah,
I was like, "Hey, it's space in Minecraft space," and he was like, "Boo, no."
Yeah.
If you want a winemaking simulator, there's a game called 100 Days that's coming out. This trailer to me could not look more boring. Like it's just like plant grapes, harvest them, ferment them into wine.
Living
it's like
the dream or whatever.
Yeah. Slime Rancher came out on the Switch. Is out already, which is nice. Lumbear Jack is coming out a little later. This is from that studio that puts bears in all their games.
That sounds right.
I don't remember who it is. And then Curious Expedition 2 came out, which was that weird like I don't know how to describe it. It's kind of like Heroes of Might and Magic, except that you have like Amelia Earhart and Thomas Edison, and you're like venturing into the dark jungles of South America.
That's kind of fun. At least the idea is kind of fun.
Yeah. I don't know if John and I ever played it. And Gang Beasts is coming, which is fine.
Another very popular one with Let's Players.
And then last they had this. This one was Chucklefish, I believe.
The Chucklefish.
Yeah, called Eastward, which seemed like this real like kind of pixel-based adventure, kind of going on an adventure, doing stuff. I didn't really get from this trailer much outside of just like, here's a game.
It's a pixel game.
Yeah.
Like usual.
So, I don't know. They might have had a 40-minute interview with directors that I didn't watch, but I don't know. It's always hard unless the final thing is like a jaw-dropping like, oh, here's one more thing, and you're just like, what?
That's the thing about indie games is it's very difficult to like have an indie showcase and be like, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen, because you never know what you're gonna get.
Well, they also showed like 6 games that came out the day.
Also, how is Tetris indie now? Do they think about it?
Oh well, I have no idea.
They're just under the radar enough to still be considered indie, apparently.
Absolutely no idea. So anyway, I don't know. I mean, there was some good stuff in there. Like,
no, there's still good stuff in there. I'm just like, you know what I mean. Like, it's not like it can't be like when you watch like a PlayStation Direct and it ends with like fucking Ratchet and Clank or something.
Well, if this was a regular Nintendo Direct, I would expect something.
That's what I mean. But, like with an indie, you can't really have something like, you can't have the ultra surprise moment in your head, like, because everything is new either way. For the most part.
Oh god, I don't even know how to deal with this. ID at Xbox did a 3-hour show.
Oh my god.
I think that we're going to this show. I hate the way that Xbox does these shows because it's 3 fucking hours long, and they do that thing where they keep cutting back to the host, and they're just like, "Ooh, that one looked good. Ooh, this one looked super good. Let's see what Twitch chat has to say." And it's like, "Oh, here's the developer. Let's talk to them for 10 minutes." I'm like, "No, fucking just put the trailers back back to back and let me get on with my day.
I'd only be cool with that if it's JR from like WWE or WWF, where he's just like, good God Almighty, just like constantly for everything. And I'd be like, I'm cool with this.
Yeah. I know it's funny. Do you remember the what was it like what was it, the wholesome direct when they would cut back to the host and just be like, oh man, that looks super good. I really can't wait to make some tea and lay in bed and play that on my Switch. Okay, we'll run down this one really fast too, because hey, you know what? We're not done talking about Activision Blizzard yet.
No,
so
not even close.
This is the warm-up until we get to the poop sandwich. Library of Ruina is coming to Xbox Game Pass. Is actually out already on Xbox Game Pass. This is a kind of a visual novel mixed with like a card battler game. I think this was already out on the PC. It's supposed to be well received.
Okay.
So that was announced. Evil Genius 2 got both a console release date and is also going to be on Xbox Game Pass. So you'll be able to play Evil Genius 2.
Good for them. Winter
of this year. They revealed this game called Lightyear Frontier that is like appears to be a multiplayer mech farming simulator where you're like on another planet with like a big bipedal mech. But
that's
then
a
you're
Mad Lib that you just said.
You're Harvest Mooning it, I guess.
You're just saying things.
It looks I mean, like it's got a really nice art style, but like, yeah, I don't really know.
It's just every time you say something, like I said, it sounds like a Mad Lib that somebody put on an Xbox.
Yeah. The Wandering Village is going to be on Xbox. That was that one from. It was shown at one of the PC gaming shows at E3, where it's like a little strategy game, but you're on the back of this giant dinosaur that's like walking around.
Thing,
yeah. They showed a trailer for this game called Lab Rat that is basically a top-down Portal. Like there's a sassy AI that's got you held prisoner, and you're having to like solve puzzles, but there's some what's actually going on kind of stuff.
I almost didn't see the A, so I thought that the AI's name was SARS, and I was like, that's weird.
This puzzle right here that we're seeing in the trailer is like the AI trying to quote unquote help you, but then just making it so you can't actually move these blocks around to where you need them to be.
Oh, jeez.
It's very Portal-y.
Yeah.
I mean, the real question with any time any game is really Portal-y, the question is like, is it a good Portal ripoff?
Yeah.
Because I love a good Portal ripoff, and it's not like there was never a puzzle game before Portal came out.
That's true. Well, it's the type of idea I think is the main thing.
Yeah.
Like the AI and everything.
There was a game called RPG Time: The Legend of Wright, which was kind of interesting. Unfortunately, Xbox did not notate their YouTube video like Nintendo did, but this was like it looks like an RPG, but the whole aesthetic of it is like as if you have like a big spiral notebook full of hand-drawn RPG stuff that you're kind of like playing with yourself. That came out wrong.
Yeah, I was like, I'm just gonna leave that where it lay.
Oh my god, this is stupid people talking. Anyway, it looks. There we go. It looks kind of interesting. It's got some kind of. It all just looks like you kind of made this like hand drawn. I was like, I don't know. When I was younger, like, I remember writing like an RPG campaign with my friends when we were too young to afford D&D, and but it seemed
I remember
pretty
this
cool.
getting announced, and then I forgot about it.
Yep, it looks pretty cool. Let's see. We got Ali World showed off a customization trailer showing that you can put on hats and mustaches and bee costumes and all kinds of stuff. Yep. Inked A Tale of Love is another like kind of hand-drawn-ish game. This one is like it actually looks like it's all drawn with like blue ink, and it's kind of an isometric game. But then like when it comes to the end of the trailer, it shows like a hand that comes in to like be the antagonist, like with a pen, kind of a duck-a-muck.
Yeah, I was about to be like, is this a game where it's duck-a-muck, I guess?
Yeah.
It's going to come at you.
Which is interesting. It's got a really interesting art style. I guess it'll again, with all of these, it's just like, I don't know, could be good, could be bad.
Fucking Elmer Fudd fucking up some shit like Rampage.
Yep. Let's see. Sam & Max Save the World Remastered was announced and is on Game Pass and is available right now. So
that's crazy.
Yep.
It's a very popular series among a lot of those people who love that company before The Walking Dead happened.
Yep. Aeon Drive. I don't know if this has been previously announced, but this to me was like, it looked really boring. It kind of looks like a Celeste kind of like speed running. Like there seems like there's some action to it. Like it's a 2D kind of pixel based thing, but it seems like it's mostly concerned with like how fast can you get from point A to point B.
Well, it can go either way depending.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just I feel like there have been a few games out there over the course of me doing this that have been kind of like this, where the whole emphasis is on just like how fast can you do it, and I'm like, that's not my style game.
Well, it's got a co-op mode, so that could be fun.
Yep. It didn't strike me as huge. The Big Con got a pre-order trailer. This is that game that was like, it's like it's the 90s and you're trying to like scam people out of money to go to a concert or something.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, and it's got a pre-order date, so August 31st is when it's coming out. And
it looks like a series of like Nickelodeon things from the 90s exploded onto a game.
Yeah, pretty much. It looks fun. I don't know. I mean, I'm a big fan of like trying out new stuff. So,
I got a cast too.
Yep. This was really interesting. The Veil, Shadow of the Crown. I would show you the trailer for this, but I don't need to because apparently it's like I actually watched a little bit of the developer because their trailer for it was just like kind of a static screen with all these like voice lines of dramatic dialogue. And then it really sounded to me like what the developer was saying is that this game has no visuals. Like you play a blind princess that's trying to like foment a rebellion against a usurper or something like that.
Huh.
But like you listen to it. And so you'll like hear things and then you could use the controller to kind of like go in a direction, but you're doing it all from like listening to stuff.
That's fascinating.
Which is a really interesting concept.
Yeah, that's really weird.
It reminds me of that. Early on, I remember there was this weird horror game where you had to put on like a gas mask and it was all like audio based. And I was like, a gas mask with the eyes blacked out. And I was like, no, I'm not doing that.
I don't think I've ever heard of that one. I remember that one where you were blind and then like it would make like vibrations and stuff. You're basically Daredevil, but that was a different game.
Yep. There's also that one with the little girl where you could like smell stuff and it was like,
oh yeah,
the world was all white.
Yeah.
It was like Bright Eyes or something like that. Yeah, I know. But there was this game that I remember hearing about, like going around indie expos, kind of, I don't know, it was like 5 or 6 years ago, where it was like an underwater. It was an underwater horror action thing, but you put on this gas mask with all the sight blocked out of it, and then you were doing the whole thing by sonar. So you were just in this like sensory deprivation gas mask, and I was like, no. Like I'm not
kind of insane.
I'm not hugely claustrophobic, but like unless my life is in danger, I don't want to put a gas mask on.
Yeah, especially with it you can't see out of. That's just weird.
Yeah. Origami 2 got a story trailer. Origami being that like kind of third person ninja game. I think Matt and I played it I know we played it, but I don't know if it was regular or Patreon.
Oh, okay.
Pathfinder Wrath of Righteous got a gameplay trailer. That is basically Baldur's Gate. Like it actually,
a good thing or a bad thing.
I mean, it looks just so much like Baldur's Gate that it is hard to find it here. Got it. Notate your videos, Xbox. Like it's just so much like Baldur. It looks like a modern Baldur's Gate, right?
I can see that.
Whereas like the way that Baldur's Gate 3 is kind of turned into this weird Larian game, but this is like just, oh, what if Baldur's Gate was like a 3D game with modern lighting and stuff. So
that's neat.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. Paparazzi is going to be on Game Pass, which is that game where you take pictures of dogs whose arms and legs don't move.
No, it's weird, but
Yep. Stardew Valley is going to be on Game Pass, and I think there's one last one called Space Lines from the Far Out, which is like an interstellar like bus service where you're trying to like kind of drive like the spaceship and pick up aliens and take them places. And
that's interesting.
Kind of reminds me of that. What was that? Like Bomber Crew or whatever. You remember that game where it was like you have the little guys inside of the bomber and you've got to move around. Kind of something a little bit like that.
I can see that.
We may have missed a thing or two, but like fuck's sake, it was 3 hours long.
It was very long. If you guys want to go out and find it, you guys can if you want.
Absolutely.
It won't have Keanu Reeves in the middle of it, but you have it.
No. Now, I don't know. Now, we don't know. Well, probably not Keanu, but maybe Keanu, because Xbox also announced that on August 24th, they are going to be doing a big Gamescom presentation, and they said that they are going to be doing updates on some of the third-party stuff that they haven't shown yet. So, hopefully, we'll get to see, that Obsidian game.
They get to flex the studios that they bought.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So, yeah, be sure to tune in for that. And I think with that, we got to talk about Activision Blizzard.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Well, it's not as much. It's
not as gross.
It's bad.
It's bad, but it's not as gross.
It's not quite as gross. Actually, you know what? It's really interesting. I want to take a brief tangent here. I know that we probably shouldn't with the amount of time that we've got for this podcast, but I'll take a brief tangent because I was listening to the Triple Click podcast one that Jason Schreier is on.
Oh, okay.
And he was talking. They have a segment at the end of their show called One More Thing, where they talk about the thing that they did. They talk about one thing that they did. We do that at the beginning, and we don't limit it. But he actually brought up a really interesting point about all this Activision stuff, or about the Activision Blizzard stuff that I had not considered. That Activision acquired Blizzard, but Blizzard was still like, when they got acquired, they became Activision Blizzard, right? Blizzard didn't become like an arm of Activision. It was like, Blizzard is making Diablo and all that stuff. And he brought up a really interesting point that I hadn't thought about with like, by J. Allen Brack leaving, and then like some of the other people that we're going to talk about, like that Activision might have the ability here to essentially push for people to be put in charge at Blizzard who would not fight as hard to keep Blizzard autonomous, and then have Blizzard slowly ooze into basically just another arm of Activision instead of being like Blizzard. It's just like a piece of Activision.
I actually did hear something like that. People on Twitter were speculating that this could, because it was one of those things where like people were saying that Activision was trying to do something like that for a long time.
Yeah.
But this can just like completely fast forward that like as hard as it could.
So what do you think? It's like, what, 5 years from now the Overwatch 2 team gets dissolved and they all start working on Call of Duty?
Maybe.
They just start taking pieces of Blizzard until everybody in the Activision is working on Call of Duty, and then they just start. It's like, what? There's fucking 40,000 employees. They're all just making Call of Duty content.
They're going to make a Call of Duty MMO and then go from there. They're gonna make Overwatch into Call of Duty.
Well,
it's just gonna literally be like those characters in Call of Duty, and that's all it is from then on.
Well, speaking of Overwatch, Jesse McCree, not the actual character, but his namesake.
Yes, his namesake
left. We got 3 people that left Blizzard this week. Luis Barriga, the director of Diablo 4, Jesse McCree, one of the Diablo 4's lead designers, and World of Warcraft designer Jonathan LeCraft. They put out a real kind of milquetoast statement. I don't know what kind of statement you make to not make this seem like a bad thing, because it was like, we have a deep, talented roster of developers already in place, and new leaders have been assigned where appropriate. We are confident in our ability to continue progress, deliver amazing experiences to our players, and move forward to ensure a safe, productive work environment for all. Which, it's never good when like these sorts of people leaving, like, no matter what, the person, the lead designer leaving suddenly for a game is not good for that game.
It's not good for any of those games.
Yeah.
And McCree's name has been stained immensely.
Yeah.
To the point where they had this tournament or something where the announcers just wouldn't say the name.
Really?
Right. Like, they wouldn't say McCree's name. They would just be like, the cowboy guy, like, basically whenever they would talk about him.
Now, was there... okay, I maybe didn't get this in my news stories, but like, was there something specific about Jesse McCree?
It's in this article that you have. It mentions he was pictured. There were pictures of him in the Bill Cosby suite.
Right. Yes,
as well as like being in the Twitter. Yeah, not the Twitter, but the message chain.
That scummy message chain. Yep.
And so he was very much stained by that, as well as like a number of different people. And since he's a very famous game character is named after him, and that's very much part of esports, these announcers were like, I don't want to say his name.
That's that's a real fucking pickle, man. Like,
yeah, there's a bunch of people who are like petitioning to like, hey, just change his name, like, to literally anything at this point.
I mean, sure,
name him Bobby Kotick and just go from there.
Oh my god, that would be terrible.
Bobby Kotick saying "High Noon" is the funniest thing I could think of.
Yeah, only if you make Bobby Kotick re-record all of his dialogue.
Yeah, just
right?
get rid of.
Don't change the character model, right? Leave the character model the same, except put Bobby Kotick's face on McCree's character model,
but make it like half-as as possible.
Yes,
like a PS1 like face thing,
or like when they used to just like take a picture of somebody and then like glue their face on.
Yeah, like the Rainbow Six that they did or whatever.
Blood Curse. Yeah. Yeah. So, yep, that happened. We also saw that Coca-Cola, Kellogg, and State Farm are all pulling sponsorships from Overwatch League.
This is all both a good and bad is really what it comes out. It's good because, of course, it's fucking with their revenue.
Yep.
It's bad because it means that like esports is going to have a really hard time again getting sponsors.
Sure.
Because they're going to be a lot more shy over something like this happening.
Yep. I mean, if anybody would have been a squeaky clean safe bet, it would have been Blizzard, right, before all this stuff dropped.
Because even the fighting game ones have been having a huge issue with all those, sexual assault things, pedophilia almost popping up with the Smash Brothers community.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of fucked up shit. So it's like sponsors more and more are looking at this being like, look, we like our sexism as much as the next person, but we want it to be as American as possible, so they keep staying with NFL.
God, I just have this mental image of just like, listen, Kotick, all of us here at Kellogg love bagging on those broads as much as the next one, but you got to keep it out of the press, Kotick. What are you doing over there?
Do what the NFL does and just hide that shit.
Oh God, I don't know. Like, it's funny because I don't know what I'm rooting for. Like destruction, rehabilitation.
I don't know.
Like, I mean, the thing is that I was trying to do a mental inventory, Michael, and it's just like, I don't. Here's the thing, I don't think I care if any company goes away. Like, I would be like, if From Software dissolved under a scandal, turns out that they've been eating people this whole time, and like it comes out, Miyazaki's just been fucking chowing down on interns for years. So the whole ghoulish vampire syndicate runs From Software, and they've all been staked to death by the Van Helsings, and there's not going to be any more Dark Souls games. And I'd be like, well, okay, like there's always new games, there's always new stuff that comes out. Like
my only time that I have issues with a company dissolving is how easy would it still be to access their games?
Yeah,
because that's the hardest part of that's the hardest thing about game preservation as well as movie preservation.
Sure,
is that when these things go down, people can't be like, I can't wait to just buy this game again. You can't, because it's just like it doesn't exist anywhere, and the physical copies will be like $300 to $400 for a game that probably wasn't even that good to begin with.
Yeah,
kind of thing. So that's really my only time that I have issues. But like you said, I don't know what I would want from Activision Blizzard anyways.
Yeah,
in this case,
I'm not sure. One thing we don't have to worry about anymore is Frances Townsend. This lovely lady who was blocking people on Twitter and posting the anti-whistleblower stuff, worked for the Bush administration, torture apologist extraordinaire, has not left, but has stepped down as the executive sponsor of the company's women's network.
I don't even know what that means, to be honest.
I don't really know either. There was some kind of thing here about where, like, the statement that she put out that was really aggressive towards the California workers, whatever, like, was mostly written by lawyers, and at the end it didn't really even sound like her, and it's like, well, I don't care.
Even if it was written by lawyers, no lawyer in their right mind should have worded any of that shit like that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Like, if anything, those lawyers have been doubly fired, if anything, because they just made her look even worse.
Yeah.
As well as the company.
I mean, in some ways, like, nah, I don't care. Just fucking Francis, you can go get another job.
In some ways, Dick Cheney. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So that happened. We also got there was a group of shareholders from the investment group SOC, who basically kind of what did they? It was like they kind of published this like a response, kind of calling out Kotick, and I really like they have a list kind of demands, and I really thought that their demands were interesting because one of them is like freeze all executive bonuses until this shit gets sorted out.
It's like heads need to roll is what they were saying. It's like this shit can't just be like another one of those, hey, we're doing our best and then nothing happens kind of thing.
Yeah. Now, I mean, so far, it seems like Blizzard and Mr. Kotick and company, I feel like they're just trying to ignore their way out of this.
They're trying desperately.
They're trying really hard, and I think a lot of it's going to depend. Whether anything changes is going to depend on how long it takes the internet to forget about this. It's been 3 weeks, and like. But is it just something that's going to end up fading into the background? Like, oh, yeah, fuck Activision Blizzard. Wait, I need a key for Diablo 2. Give me one of the keys for Diablo 2.
I think we're kind of stuck in an area where the pandemic has started shutting stuff down again.
Yeah.
The Delta variant started shutting things down again. So people have time on their hands again.
Oh, well, there's always that.
So now they have the ability to keep staring them down and then go from there. And there's plenty of other games that are coming out that have nothing to do with them.
Yeah.
That it can go either way.
Yep. This SOC group also wanted to basically add some diversity to the general board of Activision Blizzard by 2025, and then do this kind of equity review that had happened at a few other places. I like the bonuses part. Like, see that I really like that because I didn't think of that before, but I feel like that's a thing where it's like, okay, if you mean what you said, then you should have no problem saying, I will not take any bonus until an independent firm verifies that this issue is sorted out.
Yeah.
And I don't even want it to be like if it's not sorted out by bonus time, you forfeit this year's bonus. It doesn't just carry over until you fixed it. It's like, no, you have a hard date, because if there's one fucking thing that would make Bobby Kotick like crack the whip to get some shit done, it would be the threat of his fucking huge ass bonus that he gets every year going away.
It's Always Sunny quote where it's just like, we're gonna hit him where it hurts, and he's like, his dick? No, dude, his wallet.
Yeah, I think that would be really really good. Now, unfortunately, I don't think I've read anything this week indicating that they're not still going with the pieces of shit over at Wilmer Hale for their investigation.
So far, in the statement, they're so far still going with them, but they're trying to convince them not to.
Yeah,
because they're like, their history doesn't show that they've ever actually uncovered anything. They're just like, they're literally designed to just be like sweeping shit under the rug.
They're like, if you go read their, like, it's not even, I didn't make it up. It's not like I'm taking shit off of Twitter.
Yeah.
You go to their website, they're like, hey, rich fucks, are you in a jam? We're the place to get you out of your jam. Like, are your uppity bullshit employees being uppity? We'll sort it out. Give us money and we'll make it all go away. Like, that's like, if you just read between the lines, that's what it says on their website.
Yeah, it's not even between the lines. It's like said in like disclaimer.
Yeah.
It's like a cracked article came to life.
Yeah, so the idea, it's like, no, they're the ones who are going to sort out this thing where management has been abusing the employees, and it's like the union busters.
Yeah, it's like, what?
They're the ones who are going to have the employees' best.
We're here for you, employees, as they break their legs.
Right, exactly. So yeah, that's still kind of in limbo.
It's ridiculous.
We also got, let's see. We also got an article from Kotaku. I'm a little so about this article from Kotaku. There's like, part of this whole thing is just like, QA was a nightmare. We were overworked and underpaid, and everybody was shitty. And I'm like, isn't that just what QA is? Like, I mean, I'm not saying that's right, but like what they've described, I feel like is what I hear anytime I hear about the working conditions of quality assurance in the video game industry.
Oh no, that's the thing, is like, every time I did read this, not this, I don't know if it was this article, but another article that was talking about it. and because it was like I remember when Sony did this weird fucking thing. It was a YouTube reality show called
the game show, yeah.
And whoever won became a QA tester for Sony.
Yep.
And I listened to at the time the two best friends because a lot of them used to be QA testers. And they're just like, that sounds like a punishment.
Yeah.
Like, I would not want to win that fucking contest.
Like, the thing is that QA is it's okay, listen, people. I don't know. You all are adults, but if there's any children listening, I'm just going to tell you right now, it's like working in QA is there are a number of jobs, Michael, in this world that seem awesome, but they're traps.
Yeah.
Working QA is a fucking trap. You're
100%.
like, oh, I'm going to get paid to play video games. No, you're not. You're going to get paid to play like the first 20 minutes of today's build of a video game, and then you're going to sit through a bunch of boring ass meetings. You're going to have to deal with a bunch of shitty programmers who don't want to fix any bugs and will explain to you why you're wrong about doing a thing or trying to figure out how to make something happen. And like, if it's an ongoing game, like the end users are all mad all the time and breathing down your throat, and then the programmers are mad because you tell them that they fucked something up.
Yeah,
you're like, I'm not coming here to shit on you. So, and traditionally, it is always ridiculously underpaid. Like,
oh yeah, 100%.
It isn't like an entry level bullshit position, and they never pay well. And then it's always like, when we talk about crunch, like, that's where QA gets killed, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Like, because they're just cranking out builds, and every build has to be tested, and that's what QA does. And so you sleep under your desk, and somebody wakes you up, and they tell you to do the thing. So it's like working at GameStop. Like, I feel like there's like a whole group of people who are just like, ooh, it'd be great to work at GameStop, and it's like, no.
Yeah, there's plenty of places where it's like, oh, that sounds awesome, and then it's a trap.
Yeah.
Like, and QA testing is one that I've always heard is like the biggest fucking trap of them all.
Yeah.
When it comes to like, especially because a lot of them are just young people who are like, I can get into the gaming world by doing this job and show how great I am, which is how the trap gets you, because it overworks you, because you're like, I have to prove that I'm better than everybody else.
Yep.
And then you work like a lot of their conditions were like they had one day off like a month.
Yep.
Kind of thing. It's like, no, that's a bad thing. You shouldn't have to do something like that. And that's why they go through people so much, because these people get burnt out so fast.
And like, and I want to make it clear, like, one of the stories that was told in here was about somebody who wanted to use like they them pronouns and asked people to just refer to them by gender neutral pronouns, and the people that they worked with was like, no, and just kind of like made fun of this guy, and it was like, oh, okay, or this person, I should say. And the thing is that I'm not trying at all. That's shitty. If somebody wants you to call them by a name, you should just call them what. Like, the way that I see that is, if you when people call me Jeffrey, I say, I would prefer it if you called me Jeff. I prefer Jeff. And if they make a point to just continue to call me Jeffrey when I have asked them politely to call me Jeff, it's like, oh, okay, you're an asshole. You're a dick face fuck face. You're a dick fuck face. You're a dick fuck face.
Oh, by the way, we're not condoning any of the treatment of the QA testers. These are just jobs that suck.
100%.
They need to change.
Yes.
But they're probably not going to anytime soon.
I mean, I guess that's what I wanted to say, is that I feel like this article was written to be like, look how bad it was at Activision Blizzard. And I'm like, this is how bad it is everywhere.
Yeah.
Like,
I've never heard a QA tester say it's been a good time.
Yeah.
Never.
I mean, I'm sure that there are some places, some Hades was made without crunch, right? Like, there's some places that make a real effort to do stuff differently.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not saying what I wonder is whether this particular story is specific to Blizzard in a way where it's not just like the whole industry is shit when it comes to this.
A lot of the stories that I read as well for this, they're here in Austin. They're QA testers for the Activision Blizzard here in Austin. So, yeah.
So anyway, to just finish up this, I don't know whether I honestly don't know whether, like, okay, so if you worked in a place and you asked your coworkers to call you by a different set of pronouns and they were all a bunch of jeering, laughing dicks who made jokes at you behind your back, I don't know if that's indicative of like a problem with the company you work for, or a problem with the culture of the company you work for, or just like the fact that QA attracts a bunch of dicks and that you work with a bunch of assholes. And like you very well could be working with other people, and I don't know. I mean, like,
it's a little bit of everything.
It's strange
from what I can tell. Because a lot of, since they go through people so much, some of them are probably just so jaded that they're just like, look, you're probably not going to be here long enough for me to change my ways in that way,
right?
Kind of thing is probably the thought process for some of them.
I don't know. The one thing that this article that I thought was really interesting, though, was there was a few things where people were like, I took a pay cut to come work for Blizzard because it was like a prestigious thing to work for Blizzard, and then it ended up being a shit place for
it's a nightmare.
Horrible people. So but anyway, I really recommend everybody go read this because QA testers are treated poorly across the board. I say boo to that.
There's a lot of podcasters and stuff that will talk about their experiences on it. The guys, like I said, the guys who used to be on Two Best Friends, they do a lot of them do Beastcast now, as well as a few other things, and they'll talk about their experiences all the time.
I remember when I did QA a little bit, and they were coming up on the launch for a new product where they were going to start crunching, and I was going to school at the time. I was actually working 40 hours and taking like 2 or 3 classes, like graphic design classes. And I remember it was going into crunch, and I had to go to my boss, and I was like, hey, I'm just going to tell you right now, like, I can't work 60 hours a week. Like, I'm in school, and I told you that when you interviewed me. Yeah. Like, I'm going to school. I cannot work 60 hours a week. He's like, well, you can just make up the hours whenever you want. Like, it doesn't matter when you come in as long as you're able to get the number of hours every week. And I was like, no, you're not hearing me. I cannot work 60 hours and go to school. There will be no time for sleep. There will be no time for anything. I will die. And it was just like, we'll figure it out. And I like mulled that over for 48 hours. And I was like, I quit. I'm
not doing that. There's no place in the world where you'll figure that out.
Yeah, whatever we're doing here, you're going to end up disappointed, and it's going to be a shit show anyway.
Unless that room is just full of cocaine, that's probably not happening.
Jesus. Well, and then I had friends that worked at the place, and then they ended up spending, I don't know, like 3 months straight working like 90-hour weeks or some bullshit like that. Like
that's a lot of the stories in there mentioned kind of thing.
Yeah, just some bullshit. So, let's see. I think we're going to go ahead and take a break there. We didn't get through as much as I want, but we did get through the big stuff. We got through the Activision Blizzard segment of the week.
You see, QA testers break is when you have to stop doing stuff.
Yes. Yes. So we're going to take a break, but when we come back, we got more news, and I don't know. If we get through everything super quick, maybe we can do a question or two.
Maybe.
All right, we'll see you then. And we're back. And unfortunately, Michael, we're not done with the shit show just yet.
Not even close.
Actually, this is a really weird one. So there's this guy, Daniel Klein, who is a lead designer at Apex Legends. And last week, it surfaced that like some blog posts that he wrote from 2007 that were, and I looked up the blog post. They're shitty. They're like 2007 edgelord shitty. And basically, like, this came up. He was like, yep, that was me. I'm not that same person now. And like it kind of went around and around, and he ended up getting let go from Respawn. And he was very gracious on Twitter about it. And he was just like, "Yep, I get it. Like I wish it wasn't like that, but I totally get it." Like he wrote this. I couldn't even figure out what it was about, but it was this angry screed talking about this dumb bitch and like her stupid woman brain. There's all this stuff about how Eve was an idiot, and like that's just like how women are, and all this stuff. But the thing, Michael, is that 2007 was a long fucking time ago.
It was a very long time ago.
Like, I don't even, was I even making videos? Wasn't even making videos in 2007.
No.
Like, Radio Select's been a thing for 8 years. It's 2013. I was at Spill for maybe did videos for 2 years. That's 2011. Like, I wouldn't want anybody to know what I was doing in 2007. Like,
oh, that's the thing. There's plenty of stuff that, like, it was the gag with Leog was like, if people listen to old Leogs, you know,
don't do it.
All of those people are fucked.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know. I'm a little conflicted about this. Like, I mean, I get kind of why they did it, but by the same token, I guess I wonder, I feel like we stopped having this conversation about, like, if we're going to, if everything you've ever posted is going to be online forever, and everybody's a shitty teenager at some point in their life, and you put stuff on your social media when you're a shitty teenager, should that be held against you when you're, because, like, again, I keep saying this, but I was not a nice person when I was a teenager, even into my 20s.
A lot of people, like, yeah, I look back at my early or my late teens, like 18,
MySpace
19.
page.
Yeah, and my when I was 20, like 20 up until I think just before I became 21, I was a terrible person. like I was still a nice guy, but I was a quote unquote nice guy. Like, I'm using the quotes.
Oh, me too.
I was very close. I was borderline incel. I very much was.
Oh yeah.
And I cringe at the shit I said,
dude.
Back then,
if I was a teenager or an early 20-year-old, or any time before I was 30, now I would have been on 4chan all the time. I probably would have been like a big shit poster and a meme lord and like all into that stuff. I am there, but for the grace of God, I'm so glad that shit wasn't a thing. The incel boards, all that stuff wasn't a thing. Fuck's sake, man. If Gamergate had been a thing when I was a teenager, I would have been on Kotaku in action every day posting about the fucking SJWs and Anita Sarkeesian.
I think it was just the sheer amount of gaming comics I read, as well as just working. Yeah, that just kept me off the internet from ever dealing with that part of it.
The thing, I guess, is that it's just like, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how to say this. Well, okay, no, I do know how to say this. I think teenagers are all they universally are shitty, right? Like,
they don't really know they don't know what they want.
They're figuring it out, and in doing that's a messy fucking process. And I don't know how old this guy is or when those posts are, but like 2007 was, what, 13? No, wait,
it was a long time ago.
2007 was 10, 14 years ago.
It was a very long time ago.
So, like, if this guy is in his 40s now, he would have been, like, what, 26 back then? Like, 2007 edgelord on the internet when you're in your 20s? Like, and that's just assuming that he's the same age as me. Like, if he was
that's an
he's
assumption.
30 now, like, he could have been a teenager when this shit was happening. So, I don't know about this one where, like, I mean, I think that as long as the person isn't obviously that same person, and they demonstrate a level of contrition for the person that they used to be, and they're like, yeah I was a shitty teenager, that you should kind of let them. I mean, if
what's the James Gunn thing where, like, James Gunn's sense of humor was very much like, hey, I'm gonna do a rape joke, like, kind of thing. A lot of people, when they're really young, for some reason, they're like, I want to be edgelord as fuck.
Yeah, and
James Gunn was very king of that with the way his movies were. Like you watch those movies and you're like, no, he was very much kind of that guy back then. Where you look at him now, he's like, well, he's definitely not that guy.
He wrote Lollipop Chainsaw, for fuck's sake.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Like he was a crazy person, and he
worked for Trauma.
He acknowledged he was a fucking crazy person. He's like, well, I'm not really like that guy anymore. Like, a lot of people, like, you look at a lot of people like that. Like, you look at the Jackass guys. You're like some people are like, yeah, they're the same people. No, they're not the same people. Like, they still have the same shtick somewhat.
Yeah,
but they very much were like they've matured a lot in the way they talk.
Yeah,
kind of thing. Like, everybody does. Like, it doesn't matter what they started as. They rarely are the same person.
Yep.
And if they are, it's because they were kind of a terrible person to be.
It's also, I mean, I've spent so much, just ad nauseum, any person that's around me is going to hear this shit come out of my mouth at some time or another. But, like, I think it's also really worth remembering that, like, 2007 was a different fucking world. Like,
it was,
that was a completely different, and like I
this was pre-Marvel, like fucking smartphones for the most part. Kind of thing.
Let's see, 2007 video games. Let's put it in.
The iPhone had just kind of come out at that point.
What do we got? BioShock, Call it Modern Warfare, like Halo 3, the first Assassin's Creed, like God of War 2. God of War 2.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Super Mario Galaxy.
The
like,
You Are Mr. Gay cover of Mario Galaxy.
Yeah. Guitar Hero 3, Legends of Rock. Yeah, so I mean,
B-movie game.
Here's the thing: is that I mean, like the thing is that if a person is shitty when they're young and then they never grow or change or become less shitty, then I'm all in favor of like
usually it's
holding
obvious,
them to their shit account
like
for
that
their
guy would have been
shittiness.
fired very fast if that was the case.
Yeah.
kind of thing. But he's definitely not that guy. If he became the lead of something, he's not that guy anymore.
I don't think so.
Like
So-
people would not have followed a guy like that.
But then he also ended up like reaching out to Twitter and being like, does anybody need to hire like a lead? I don't know how to do. I mean, you can see what's going on, right? But like, if you want to hire me anyway, I'm fucking good worker. Blah blah.
It's it kind of sucks for the guy. Like it really just comes down to the fact that he never went back to remove them.
He didn't scrub
He
scrub
probably-
his history.
Yeah, he didn't know how to. Probably like it's probably one of those things where it's an old thing that he doesn't even have access to anymore.
It's on some like outside. It's like a deviant art blog.
Jesus Christ, that's how okay. That makes it that much worse.
Yeah,
because it shows how like fucking where his mindset was at that point. Like deviant art.
Yep.
Kind of like a lot of people we know started on DeviantArt. I'm not saying DeviantArt's a terrible place. I'm saying DeviantArt tends to be a place where a lot of edgelordy artsy people tend to be at. So yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, you know, hey man, listen, I don't think we have a lot of people on the podcast who are going to be like, whoa, going to come at me. But if you gotta, like, I actually am interested to hear what the fucking Philip DeFranco show. Like, that's the news.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. But I want to hear from you in the comments. You know, just write in and let me know what you think. I'd be interested to think because I'd be interested to listen to an argument in the opposite direction. Just as somebody who used to be a shitty teenager and is now a less shitty adult, I'm like, I don't know, but I'll tell you who's still shitty though. I'll tell you who doesn't grow out of being a shitty teenager, and that is video game companies.
Oh, yes, no.
So last week we had a story about Niantic talking about how they were reinstituting the pre-pandemic rules for Pokemon Go, which I actually learned when I read this that the interaction distance for Pokemon Go used to be when it started it was 40 meters, and during the pandemic they made it 80 meters so that people didn't have to get as close to like gym stops or each other or whatnot.
Yeah.
Now they've already apparently here and in what was it like the some other country they've put it back to the 40 meters. And most people agree that like the 80 meters was a better game experience, let alone the fact that, you know, don't fucking Google Florida COVID numbers, like or Texas ones for that matter.
Yeah, just don't look into it.
But the thing is that so last week there was a whole thing where players were going to be talking about boycotting Pokemon Go in order to see if they could pressure the company into putting the rules back. Well, Niantic actually put out a whole statement this week where they fucking basically just jab. They said a lot of nothing. At the end, they said, however, we have heard your input loud and clear, and so to address the concerns you have raised, we are taking the following actions. We are assembling an internal cross-functional team to develop proposals designed to preserve our mission of inspiring people to explore the world together while also addressing specific concerns that have been raised regarding interaction distance. We will share the findings of this task force by the next in-game season change. As part of the process, we will also be reaching out to community leaders in the coming days to join us in this dialogue. What a fucking crock of shit. Like,
yeah, what the fuck?
We're going to start a task force to see if we can figure out how to make people not walk next to each other where they have to be closer to each other.
When companies use the term task force,
Task Force X, man.
Yeah, it's just like, guys, what the fuck? Yeah, unless it's a literal Suicide Squad, I don't give a fuck what your task force is.
Yeah. Or plus the idea that it's just like, I don't know. This is I don't really even play Pokemon Go, so I don't really know.
I don't either. It's just the way it's worded just fucking annoys the shit out of me.
It's kind of what we've been talking about when it comes to the Activision Blizzard stuff, where it's just like, this is like boilerplate, like, yeah, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to wait for you to forget about it, and then we're just going to keep doing it because...
the use of task force. God damn it! Fuck you.
It really got you.
It's because I'm always annoyed when a company says we're going to assemble a task force. Like, what does that mean? Like, you're not a fucking like military thing. Like, what does this mean? Like, what the fuck is a task force? Just be like, we're just getting a group of people to talk about this.
Michael, they're going to synergize their action items to create a new paradigm. You know,
I'm thinking of that part of 30 Rock where they're like synergy, you like trying to get like Jack to listen to them. He's like, that's the greatest presentation I've ever seen.
Yep. So yeah, fuck Niantic, and I don't know. I'm not a big fan of games that make you walk around outside anyway, because I live in Texas and it's 100 goddamn degrees here.
It's like 90, like it's just ridiculous.
Let's see. Next up, we have people mad at Twitch. The hashtag
Shit,
Twitch do better has been going around. It's actually kind of interesting. Basically, somebody brought up an old tweet from 2018 where Twitch was like, please watch us closely and hold us accountable if we do anything wring. And people are like, okay. So this is kind of like a general...
Twitch is like, how do I delete tweets?
Right. So here's the thing. There's a few different items here. One is that Twitch apparently does not... The tools that Twitch has are real outmoded and real outdated. So apparently, I didn't even know this, but apparently one of the things that will happen on Twitch is hate raids.
Hate raids?
Where people will just like get together to go raid somebody's channel, like to fuck with them. Not like positive raids, but they'll just like bring their audience over to fuck with somebody. People of color, people LGBTQ plus IA persuasion, like some of the automatic chat filters apparently will it'll filter out the people on their channel that are like putting up pride flags, but then like not filter out like hate raids coming in because those guys are like really smart about getting around stuff. So part of this is Twitch streamers talking about the fact that Twitch takes 50% of subs and bits and cheers and donations. Yeah. And they're like, okay, we would like you to either, one, like work on your tools more to make it a better experience for streamers, or two, give us more of the fucking revenue. Like if you're taking half, but you're not doing shit, like we'll be fine if you don't do shit and you give us 80%. But like if you're just going to sit there and just fucking, jerk off into the ether, which, Twitch it's been kind of just bad for like 2 years now.
It's been bad for a while now, yeah.
All the DMCA stuff. Remember Square Enix's conference where they turned off the music to everything?
That whole thing. That was just the most uncomfortable thing. I literally switched to YouTube because I couldn't do it anymore.
Yep. So yeah, this is kind of a movement. I mean, like again, I doubt that this is going to go anywhere.
Oh no, it's not going to go anywhere because Twitch doesn't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah, especially because they got bought by Amazon, and Amazon really doesn't give a fuck. Amazon will send their CEO into space in the dick ship, while most people put the dick in a Gatorade bottle to pee so they don't have to miss a shift.
The issue is just that like there's nothing else that's taken over enough to take enough of their base away.
I think YouTube Live is pretty good. I just don't know why people don't use it quite as much.
It's just it comes down to you now have to deal with YouTube people.
Well, there's
YouTube comments is the thing, and they don't have very many ways of filtering that out either.
Yeah.
So it just comes down to nobody's figured out how to like do that and also regulate well enough to like get those people away from them.
Right.
And like some places have tried, but like the one Microsoft had. What was the name of their thing?
Mixer.
Yep. Mixer was a nice attempt.
It's Facebook Live,
and then it's Facebook Live. Like no one has ever figured it out just enough, but nobody's willing to spend the money to do it because it would take a lot of money to do something like that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things they talk about in this article is the idea of making it so that like if you want to sign up for a Twitch account, you have to put in a phone number and get like a text message notification, so that people can't just you ban somebody and then they create a new account and then they come in. Like the thing is that I had that problem. I remember we streamed one time. We streamed when we streamed the Battlefront content.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And people were coming in to spoil Force Awakens saying Kylo Ren kills Han Solo, and I would ban them, and then they would just create a new account, come back in. And it wasn't until later that I found out like the only way to fix this was to basically like, you have to be subbed to me for an hour in order to speak.
Yeah.
But like that's also really restrictive, right? Like if somebody who's a fan of Rage Select is like, oh, I didn't know you guys had a Twitch channel, I'm gonna come in and have fun, and they're like, oh, I gotta fucking sit here for an hour
before saying anything.
Like it's a restriction that helps with troll management, but it also hurts your own base. So
it's a tricky situation that no one has fully figured out.
I'll tell you what, though,
spend the money to do it.
But they have made some progress, Michael. Twitch has done something right. Do you want to know what Twitch has done right? What they've rolled out?
They figure out how to get rid of Pauly Shore?
No.
I don't know if that's true or not.
Is Pauly Shore on Twitch?
I don't know. Maybe.
Doesn't Bernie Sanders have a Twitch channel?
I don't know. So everyone has a Twitch channel nowadays, except for me, apparently.
No, this was the stupidest headline I've ever read, and this just goes to back up my whole, like, Twitch is a flaming garbage pile. Twitch will now tell streamers why they've been banned from Twitch.
Oh, my God.
It has taken this long to get to a point where if you get banned for licking a plastic ear, like Twitch will send you an email saying you have been banned for licking a plastic ear.
Oh, my God.
Nobody wants to listen to that, Amaranth. Get the fuck out. Or like whatever. But like up until this point, it would just be how long you're banned.
Oh, my God. That's the saddest thing I've ever heard.
Yeah. Literally. Oh, no, really? Yes, really.
Oh, my God. They've been around forever, too.
Yeah. They've been around so long. We used to Twitch stream every Sunday for like 4 years and then stopped.
Yeah, we just stopped doing it. Jeff just didn't want to deal with that shit anymore.
Well, I like having a Sunday afternoon where I can lay on the couch and you know.
Like I said, you don't want to deal with it anymore. Yeah. You just wanted to hang out.
I take my shirt off and put a lot of Taco Bell, but right on my belly, and then I lay on the couch, and then I kind of just scoop it in a little bit at a time. My
brother keeps trying to get me to do like my own Twitch stream. I'm like, I don't want to deal with that.
The thing is, I've thought about doing it, but like I've almost thought about like starting up a new Twitch stream that's not Rage Select, where it's just like, I'm gonna play Kerbal Space Program, and I'm not even gonna talk very much. I'm just gonna fucking sit here and play my Space Boy game. I'm gonna play whatever I want to, and I'm just gonna hear me like.
Some people have those, yeah.
Cool.
The ASMR.
Oh yeah, I need to get one of those plastic ears.
Yeah, exactly. Just lick the shit out of it.
So,
well, sending it into space.
I was gonna play Kerbal Space Program and lick a plastic ear. That's my channel. It's like
the whole time.
Headphones only. I demand you must wear headphones when you play this. So it's all you hear is the little Kerbals going like, and then like. Just for like 4 hours straight. That's my horrible YouTube channel or Twitch channel. Yeah. All right. Next up on the shit parade, this was a really strange story. So a bunch of Democrats wrote a letter to 12. Okay, let's start at the beginning here. Senator Ed Markey, Representative Kathy Castor, and Representative Lori Trahan have written a letter to 12 major players in gaming, including Epic, Activision, Disney, and Microsoft, asking that they extend a newly adopted UK age-appropriate design code, which is not a law. It's just like a I don't know, like Creative Commons or something, right? It's like a guideline for how you're going to do stuff moving forward. And that they extend the protections of the AADC to American children as well. That they adopt the same policies in the AADC. The thing is that they are confused because the AADC is about collecting data from children. It doesn't have anything to do with fucking loot boxes like they talked about. It has anything to do with fucking monetization. Like what it has to do with is collecting data from minors and also not trying to like nudge or encourage minors to like basically turn off privacy settings or volunteer their own data, right? Like if you're making a game that's like for kids that you you don't ask like, how old are you, and then store that data and
Have you
send
ever
it
seen
back
a grown man naked?
Right, exactly. So they wrote this letter, and they're confused. Like they're like, hey, we don't like the gambling, and it's like, that's not what this is about. In fact, most of what is in the AADC is apparently covered by COPA. Remember that?
Oh, fucking hell.
By the way, this is not for children. YouTube, this is not for children. You have to say it 4 times, right?
Yeah, you have to keep saying
YouTube,
it.
this is not a children's.
Beetlejuice.
Not a children's. Oh, now Beetlejuice is going to be in here.
Somewhere around here.
Definitely not going to be COPPA compliant after Beetlejuice shows up.
This is the cartoon.
That's true. So yeah, there's not really a whole lot more to say out here outside of like, Michael, I'm of two minds when it comes to like, well, okay, actually, there's part of this that says, what is that? Let me find the quote. There is one thing that they said where, where the hell is this quote?
Is it the violence quote?
Space by techniques. I don't. Loot boxes, the bundle. Children are uniquely vulnerable to manipulation to peer pressure. Experts suggest that the ESRB ratings and parental controls are insufficient. The AADC represents a monumental step. They also just casually mention like violence.
Yeah, part of it mentions it just above
in here.
That. Well, just above that.
Oh yeah,
right there.
Yeah, exposure to violent content, which.
And online predators.
I always want to be really specific about this, where I'm like, I have absolutely no problem restricting fucking Grand Theft Auto 5 from babies. I don't think babies should be playing as Trevor.
They should not.
I don't think Trevor plus babies equals no.
Just the actor in general.
No, yeah.
Don't let that actor near any children.
However, I am a grown-ass man, and I want ultra-violent video games, movies, television shows, snack foods. I want violence everywhere, because I think it's fun and amazing, and I'm old enough to tell the difference between the screen and other stuff. So
hopefully,
this is why I don't like it when they do this shit, because I'm like, because you obviously have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
Well, they don't. They assume all video games are for children.
Yep.
When it hasn't been for children, because all those children grew up like ages ago.
Yeah. Yeah, motherfuckers. Come on. Yeah. From there, let's see. We got some more. This is interesting. Take-Two has basically been DMCA takedowning, or using DMCA takedowns to remove Grand Theft Auto mods from the modding community. Now, this is interesting. I mean, that sucks, but the interesting part about it is that it seems like they're mainly going after like mods that are like remastering old content into like the newer engines adding things in there. So a lot of this seems to tie into last week. We got that news story that Take-Two is going to be doing some like unannounced remasters. And so the idea out there is that it's possible that we might be seeing a remaster of like GTA 3 or Vice City or one of those, and that they're trying to basically cut down anything that would potentially present a weird legal threat to that.
That absolutely would be the why we would DMCA remaster mods. Like, because at that point you're just doing it because Grand Theft Auto 3 remaster, Vice City remaster is something you're looking into at that point.
Yeah. Which,
like, there's no other reason to do something like that other than to be a dick.
I mean, I'll be honest, like, I would love to play a Vice City remaster.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the way it looks, the music, especially if you get the original music.
Can you imagine if the ray tracing with all like the neon and stuff?
Oh my God.
It would look
like
really
the
good.
clubs that you go into.
Yeah,
especially that one specific club. You know what I'm talking about? Mm-hmm. The one where there's like just people dancing like nonstop.
Yep,
that shit would be amazing in fucking HD.
Yep. Well, speaking of Grand Theft Auto, we also got the news that apparently the PS5 Grand Theft Auto 5 will be running at 4K and 60 frames per second. I don't even know why this is a story anymore. I'm just like, what? I feel like, okay, I'm like, hey, video game industry, why don't you tell me if your remaster of like a PlayStation 3 game will not run at 4K 60 FPS on the new consoles? Because right now everybody's just like, look, it'll do the thing. And it's like, well, of course it will do the thing. That's why I spent $500 on a new console, was to do that specific thing. Like,
GTA 5 is becoming the new Skyrim, and it's starting to annoy me.
I guess they're like the only two games, right, that are some of the only games that have like not even just like a franchise, but like that specific game has been released over console generation after generation.
I'm expecting like it to pop up on the fucking Alexa or whatever it was the same way.
Oh.
Would like, get the hooker, Alexa, get the hooker.
Skyrim Alexa. Well, Grand Theft Auto may be release the same game over and over again, but Kerbal Space Program is fucking done. The squad has the balls to finish their game and be done with it. So what was it, like about a month ago, I believe, they put out their last huge update. It had a titanic amount of new content, all this crazy new stuff. Like, there's this whole system in the game where you can literally like weld parts onto things, like you can, and there was one thing that they didn't put in, and it was this ground docking port where you can put a thing on the ground on a planet, and like then you could dock a spaceship to it, which means that you can like hang shit off the side of walls, or like I was telling you before that it's YouTuber Matt Lown that I watch that does all these crazy Kerbal Space Program videos. He like put it on the side of this big rock arch and then hung a whole space base off of it. And it had like a little platform where the Kerbals could just like walk around and do stuff. And one of the things they added were these new science experiments that you could just do anywhere. And one of them is like you can hit, like your Kerbal will put down a golf ball and pull out a club and like hit a golf ball. So it's literally like
that's fun.
Hitting a golf ball off this hanging base that's just suspended in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, so Squad has finished Kerbal Space Program. They're going to continue to do bug fixes if needed, but that is pretty much the last of the actual updates to the game.
That makes sense. You know, the sequel's being worked on even now.
Yep, and that's what they're going to move to work on the sequel. I'm still salty though about that. Remember that bullshit that Take-Two did, where they fucking dissolved the group that was they took like half of the workers from them.
The whole thing, the entirety of that,
and then canceled
story.
The contract to make it, and then like
Super
converted it to do it internally. Yeah, and it was called like Headhunter Studios was like the new studio.
It was a dick move.
It was something like that. It was really bad.
It was just the dickish move I'd ever heard a studio do in quite some time.
Yeah, but hey, you know what? I know that you guys are goddamn sick of hearing about it from me, but like, if you haven't played Kerbal Space Program, okay, I want to know how much, Michael. How much is Kerbal Space Program on Steam?
Like $20, I guess.
I don't know.
Not a lot. I don't know.
How much is the complete edition?
How much does a banana cost, Michael?
How does Valve not have Steam.com?
Oh my God, really?
It's just this website with like the definition of Steam.
That's amazing.
And a graph. And it's got a sales.
And what can Steam do for you?
It's got an inquiry for sales. I'm sure that the person who owns Steam.com is like, I will sell it to you, Valve, for $2 million.
Apparently, he sells Steam. Apparently, to people.
There's nothing
like an old timey man.
Yeah, that's so fucking
weird.
It's
a literal picture of a Steam engine.
How is Valve charging thousands of dollars for VR headsets? They haven't bought Steam.com yet. Like,
wait, what is the actual website for Steam then called?
It's SteamPowered.com.
That's even worse.
Yeah. I mean, I know what it is because I go there all the time. Okay, so Kerbal Space Program Complete Edition is $60.
Okay, that's not a lot.
So they,
especially for how much they have. Yeah,
they had 2 DLCs, the Making History expansion, Breaking Ground expansion.
What's the normal amount?
$40 for just the base game.
Okay,
I think I bought it when it was still in early access. When it was like 25 or 30
it was
bucks.
Real cheap
like
back in the day. Yeah.
I mean, they've sold. It's been around for. It's like DayZ, right? Like it's been around forever. But
them and Minecraft were one of the ones that started really a long time ago.
Yep. I have to say, if you ever wanted to play Kerbal Space Program and you didn't, there are so many things in the game now that are quality of life enhancements that make it easier to play.
Yeah.
Like there's literally an upgrade that you can do in the game where like if you upgrade, I think it's like the tracking center to level 3. Now, if you just get your ship into orbit, like you can literally just hit, I want to go to the moon, and it'll plot a course, and then just it'll calculate when you need to do it, how long you need to burn. It'll set a waypoint. It even has an alarm where you can just like jack up the time dilation to like maximum, and it'll slow it down and turn off the time dilation when you're 1 minute from your burn time. It tells you exactly where to go, how to go, what to do. It's a good time to play Kerbal Space Program.
That's
and
crazy.
It's very satisfying. Very, very satisfying. Yeah. Let's see. From there, last week we got the news that apparently who did this? It was like Viacom CBS.
Yeah, because they wanted it for the Paramount Plus thing.
Oh, made a deal with Trey Parker and Matt Stone, $900 million for South Park up to season 30 and 14 movies.
Which is fucking crazy, by the way.
What season is South Park even on?
25 or something? I actually don't know. They've been around for a long time.
Holy shit.
Like, South Park has been a series that has been around for so long that I've been seeing my Facebook feed of people turning on them lately.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, because they're just like, they did the things that caused the internet to be, like, terrible. And I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
is it, though?
Dude, I remember downloading episodes of South Park off of Kazaa in real media format.
Yeah.
That will tell you.
That's
Those
how long-
words will tell you.
It's been around, like, it's been around for so fucking long. Like, it's insane how long it's been around.
Wow, 23 seasons, and then the last 2021 they had the pandemic special and the vaccination special.
I still like South Park. Like, I get why people are trying to turn on it,
Yeah.
but I still think it's fine.
I do too. I watch it. I actually,
Yeah.
It's weird to me because I kind of have like a tradition where I would go get Taco Bell and eat and watch South Park, and so now like Taco Bell and South Park are all hooked together in my mind, and I'm just like, oh man.
Speaking of which, did you hear they're trying to buy Casa Bonita?
Who, Trey Parker, Matt Stone?
Yeah, because of the pandemic,
right.
Casa Bonita has been like suffering, and they filed for bankruptcy at one point.
Uh-huh.
And so Trey and Matt were like, we need to buy Casa Bonita. So they're like, we have all these plans for it. We're going to update its menu. We're going to do all this shit. Like, they're super excited, and they're desperately trying to buy Casa Bonita.
Well, how many Casa Bonitas are there? Is there only one?
As far as I know, it's just the one that's there, or at least the one that they're trying to get is the one in the show.
Yeah.
Like, straight up, they're just like, we have all these plans for Casa Bonita if we buy this because we want this thing real badly. Like, we want to treat it with like love and care, is what they're saying.
Actually, sorry, we got way off track here. We're having to re-record this part, but we got way off track. They're making a game as well.
Yes,
they're making a South Park game. It's not Ubisoft. It's not Obsidian, and apparently it's going to be 3D, which I'm not happy.
Which is weird, yeah, because the last time they did that was the PS1 64 game.
Or was it South Park like Racers or whatever?
Yeah, there was also that
like
one
a
too.
cart
Yeah.
game.
But yeah, there was a normal like shooter one. You remember that one?
Sort of. I just don't want to see. Yeah. I don't want to see the South Park kids in 3 dimensions. They look weird.
Well, it's always weird because they have to figure out like what they would look like in 3 dimensions,
right?
And usually what they end up doing is they're just like, well, they're circles, so they're like a literal like sphere, and it's like, well, that just looks weird.
And you put like lighting effects on it, and it's like, what?
Yeah, so South Park characters don't really work well in 3D a lot of the times. Is my issue.
Well, plus they looked great in the Stick of Truth and Fractured But Whole. So
it really just comes down to that they need to work out what they would look like in 3D more than just making a paper object like a circle is really the issue.
Yeah. Yeah, but they're going to be making it under that internal studio that they made that was like this kind of the banner before the Ubisoft logo.
Yeah.
I'm glad that Ubisoft has nothing to do with this because I would be afraid of them turning it into some kind of online live service shooting game or something. Ubisoft has been on a tear to just really make me fucking hate their guts. So
yeah.
Let's see. Did you see last week, Michael, that there was this open world Power Rangers game thing?
I heard about this, and I'm a little bummed that this just never came to be.
This is Jason Bischoff, who was a Saban director and a guy in charge of licensing at Funko who apparently like they did like a kind of underground pitch for a Power Rangers game that would have been like an open world, like Arkham style combat Power Rangers game. And there's some kind of like, there's some basic artwork for it and some kind of pitch doc stuff. And he's just putting it out there to basically be like, yeah, a bunch of artists like worked on this. And I figure like, hey, let's show it off, you know?
I always love when that happens, when somebody's like, hey, we worked really hard on this and I just want somebody to see this.
Yeah.
They did like a guy who worked on the Factor 5. They worked on the Factor 5 Superman game, released a bunch of shit on what they wanted to do for that too.
I remember that
also bums me out that got canceled.
The what was it? The original like Battlefront 3 stuff where they had like dark Obi-Wan.
They came out with all this like footage of what it was because it was damn near done. It was like fuck.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. You can check out the concept art.
Same with the Prey 2 stuff. A lot of Prey 2 stuff came out.
Don't remember Prey 2. Just makes me sad.
Yeah.
Speaking of being sad, Michael, you said you could be Superman in Fortnite.
Yeah.
Apparently, you could be Superman in Fortnite, but it's just like a skin, so somebody could just fucking headshot Superman.
What's the issue I've always had with the Fortnite skins, where they're just like, "Hey, it's really cool that your character's in this, but they don't actually do anything that the character normally does."
Yeah,
like the Ryu thing, where it's like, "Yeah, you get to be Ryu from Street Fighter, but he still has to use a machine gun."
Yeah. Well, it's also weird here because there's like a Clark Kent version as well.
Yeah, you
like,
can just use Clark Kent instead, and there's like a Kryptonian hammer or some shit.
Yeah, well, that's the Fortress of Solitude hammer or pickaxe. Yeah, it's real weird. I mean, the saddest part about Fortnite is that I fucking love I think that they have this really good like unified art style that works well for all these different characters. The problem is they just keep putting them into fucking Fortnite.
Yeah,
like any other video game I would play, but Fortnite.
The thing is, Fortnite keeps coming out with stuff that makes me like excited at the idea of something, but then I'm just never gonna do it. Like when they had the Marvel things where you get like the shield and all that stuff. It's like that sounds kind of cool.
Or
they
Batman,
did the Batman thing, the Mandalorian thing, the Superman thing. Like I was talking to somebody,
Ripley from Aliens. Like
I was talking to somebody, and he's just like, "You thought about playing that game, didn't you? Because they put Superman in it." I'm like, "No,
yes,
maybe I want to." But it always comes down to the fact that I won't be that character.
Right,
I'll just be a skin of that character with a fucking gun and a pickaxe or some shit.
Yep.
And it's like fuck, man. Like everything in it, I really like. Like you said, the Superman suit in it is fascinating to me because it's a fusion of both his New 52 outfit and his normal outfit.
Oh, okay.
So he has all the armor lines for the New 52, but he has the red trunks and the yellow belts and the yellow S on his back.
Yeah, looks good.
And it's like, what the fuck? Like this looks great.
It looks great. Yeah.
And it's just, but I'm never gonna fucking play this goddamn game.
Then you got to play fucking Fortnite. So
yeah, it's like, god damn it! I just want to play a game with Superman in it. I just want to. There's just too much to ask. Like the last time it happened, besides Superman Returns, was that fucking Justice League game that was like Ultimate Alliance. Which is crazy to me. They've never tried that again either. Like, because there was that, and then there was the Xbox Superman game that I've never even played because it's only on Xbox and it's not backwards compatible in any shape, way, or form. Well, it frustrates me. I just want to play a game with Superman.
Hey, man, I'm right there with you.
It's like, goddamn, you
make
people.
a fucking Superman game. Well, speaking of Xbox, we got some Xbox news. Apparently, if you are on the PC, Xbox Cloud Gaming is on PC if you're in the Insider program. So
that's interesting.
You can play it on PC. It's one step closer to being able to play Xbox. Okay, let me see if I can figure this out right. I don't know if you can do it on the... I don't know if you can do it on the PlayStation 3, but the PlayStation 3 does have a web browser, right? So, like, if you could play Xbox Series X Halo on a PlayStation 3 through xCloud, that would be incredible.
That would be fucking
That
insane.
would be incredible.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Get the PS4 browser to play Halo 3 on it.
Yeah. We also got some news about Halo. Apparently, there was a question about whether the bots. Apparently, one of the big things from the technical beta that they had for Halo is that the bots are apparently incredible. Like they're very smart and they're very good at Halo. But some people saw some bots, and at first glance, it could seem like the bots were like teabagging somebody. And so the question got sent, are the bots teabagging people? And the answer is no. Apparently the bots in Halo will not be teabagging people. It's just there's this pathing error with this one staircase where the bots can't get around the side, and so they try to duck to get around it.
Oh,
and it's just causing a little thing. It looks like they're teabagging.
That's kind of amazing.
Yeah. They actually specifically said in an interview, like, they don't want the experience of playing against bots to be punitive because they feel like that's the way that people are going to learn how to play the game.
Yeah.
They don't want to discourage people from playing the game by having bots literally put their nuts in your mouth.
But how would they learn, though?
how will they get good, noob? Xbox is also getting a night mode option.
Ooh.
Where you can set it for either a schedule or a certain thing. How, like cell phones have that thing where it makes it red.
Light filter or whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't. So you can actually set like the dimness of the display and the amount of red and blue based on a schedule, or you can turn it on manually.
I kind of like that idea, though.
Yeah, kind of cool. Apparently, it also it reduces like there's stuff where it'll like you can have it turn off HDR. You can have it reduce the brightness of like the light on the controller and on the game console.
Well, that sounds nice in general. For that part, yeah.
Basically, it's just a bunch of menu options. Apparently, there's something like this on the PlayStation 5 already, but I haven't looked into it.
I think I found it, but I never used it.
Holy shit, we're so far out of time. Or well, not entirely, but
we're just. There's probably not going to be a question. Is what you're saying, yeah,
probably. Okay, trailers. It's been 5 years since No Man's Sky came out.
Yep.
And they put out a trailer this week announcing a new update called Anniversary. Or no, wait, it's called what is it called? Frontiers.
Oh, okay.
There's no actual data on what it is, but it's really they put together a very heartwarming video, and it starts with Sean Murray like making promises that he can't deliver, and then it goes from them like releasing the game, and then it just starts showing all the different DLCs and what they did. They even have a thing. The only thing that's kind of that I don't like about it is that when they show like the multiplayer announcement, they have just like a cacophony of like YouTube React stuff going on in the background. So just a bunch of people going like, oh, fucking hate YouTube React videos so much.
Well, it's kind of nice because it just shows that they were like, they listened to the people and the people they responded to what they wanted.
Yep. But it is nice to see. It's impressive to look at this all in a row and see all of the different things that they put out.
Because like No Man's Sky became the thing that they said it was going to be.
Yep.
Like it's just like there was so much that they said in the beginning that people gave them shit for so long that by the time it became what it is now, it's like, oh, No Man's Sky is exactly what it said it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
For the most part. I'm sure there's a couple things that it didn't, 100% do, but you probably wouldn't even notice at this point.
Yeah. I think it'd be really interesting to hand this game. I think it'd be really interesting to find somebody who'd never played No Man's Sky before, have them play it, and then have them go back and watch the people's reactions to the 1.0 vanilla version and just be like, man, if only you knew where this was going to be ending up. So
I would love to just get somebody who stopped at the very beginning and see what they will do now.
Yep. Let's see. From there, we had a trailer for. Did you see this Lady Hellbender trailer last week, Michael?
I didn't. People were sharing it, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to watch it or not.
Okay, it's pretty cool. It's like it picks up right after the stuff that they showed where they're taking Groot or Rocket to Lady Hellbender, who I didn't know that character, but she basically shows up and just like flirts with Drax shamelessly. Or actually, there's an option where you can choose whether you want Peter to do it or whether you want Drax to do it, and Drax like just doesn't really react to what she's saying. She's like, ooh, I'd like to get in the ring with you, and he's like, yes, I will fight you whenever you feel like it. But it's pretty cool. This game still looks rad as hell. I can't believe that this game, I didn't know about this game 3 months ago, and it's coming out in October. So
it was shocking. Yeah, it's still one of those games that like, how the fuck did you keep this from us for so long?
Yep. I mean, I think there were like rumors, but everybody was pretty nice about it. So
well, people were worried it would just be like, hey, it's just going to be like Avengers kind of thing. And so when it didn't turn out to be that, people were like, oh, well, now I'm just really excited.
Yep. I am.
Like, it was closer to fucking Mass Effect than it was to fucking Avengers.
Yep, 100%. Let's see. We got a trailer for the Dartmoor Garden Show for Hitman 3.
Ooh.
This is interesting. They took the Dartmoor map and they put on a big garden show that has 4 themed gardens in it. Dartmoor was always overcast, so they made it a very sunny day. And then, like, there's a thing where there's 3 judges and 4 contestants, and it's an escalation map where you first have to kill one of the contestants, then you have to kill 2 of the contestants, then you have to kill 2 out of the 3 judges, but it's randomized the first time you go through.
Oh, wow.
It is an escalation, and escalations are, once you play it, you basically can open up a mode where you can just kill whoever the hell you want to, and it's not especially interesting, but it's closer to like the Icon or one of those types of maps than this whole 7 Deadly Sins thing that they're doing, which I'm not really a big fan of.
Yeah, I remember you saying you weren't that big of a fan of that.
Yeah, so that's already out. It came out on August 5th, and it's free for everybody.
Oh, wow.
You don't have to have the DLC or anything. So if you want,
it's permanent too. That's cool.
Yep. I don't know. I looked at it for the possibility of doing like a video on it, but it's just not all that interesting.
Not that different is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, like it's just not super difficult to beat. It's great for me because it's like
play, yeah.
One of the judges in it, like one of them is the lady that made the art installation in Dubai, and one of them is Marcus Stuyvesant's daughter after his assassination in the first level, and like. So I know who these characters are, but like nobody else is going to be like, oh, like I think it's really cool of them to reuse content and then to use that to introduce a little bit more story. But like, only crazy people are going to want to do that. I tell you what, though, I was watching somebody beat this guy. This guy on YouTube called Mr. Freeze 2244 who does Hitman videos. That's all he does. He has gone from doing the best tutorials in the world to just bitterly complaining because IO isn't doing what he wants them to do.
There's always that guy, yeah.
And like I was thinking about, well, what do I want IO to do outside of like what they did with Hitman 2, which is just make
more bird costumes,
new maps.
More clowns.
No, I want them to do. You remember when Valve added to Team Fortress 2 that movie thing where you could make a movie? I desperately want a movie creation engine inside of Hitman where you can like set up a scene and like move a camera and then like output that to a file and then stitch it all together to be like a movie. Like I think Hitman would be, because I love the way that these trailers are, and I would love to be able to make my own. Like I would love to just be able to make doing cool stuff in Hitman movies and put it on my YouTube channel. Like
that would be cool.
And it's so pretty and it's so cinematic that I think it would be great if they could do that. Like let you play as any of the different characters in the game, let you go to any of the places, set stuff up. That's what I would want out of it. Let's see. We're going to skip this. There was 11 minutes of Forza Horizon, and we're going to talk about it basically not at all.
It's just Forza. Like, what else can you really say about Forza other than it's a nice car game?
I was like, hey, it's 11 minutes long. And you know what it is, Michael? Is like it's about 5 minutes worth of basically like switching out spoilers and hubcaps and like front ground effects and shit.
Yeah.
And then it's like 8 minutes of just like it's not racing. It's literally just driving around the open world. Like just driving and driving and driving and then stopping and then driving and then driving and then stopping and driving, and it's just like, okay, well, there's nothing here.
Well, like I said, it's Forza. There's only so much you can say to get you excited about a game like that.
I would like to have seen a race, but
they're just very, very like excited about what they did.
It's also the biome that they picked to drive around in is like fucking West Texas scrubland. I mean, I know it's in Mexico, but like that's not exactly the most interesting thing to look at in the world.
It's just like because it's just like it's just like
scrubby cactuses.
It's real nice, I guess, but like I don't really give a fuck about that nowadays.
Yeah. Well, Michael, do you give a fuck about Duke Nukem?
Of course I do. And this is the thing I kept talking about consistently with you, which is the fact that like I kept wishing Gearbox had made Duke Nukem Begins after what they said they would do after doing Colonial Marines.
Yep.
I just didn't realize they were going to.
Yep.
And that the fucking IP fucking legal shit caused all of these things to be canceled.
Yeah, so we saw a video that came out this week of basically kind of like a mock-up demo reel of Duke Nukem Begins, the third-person action prequel game. It's I mean, it's obviously not gameplay, right? It's obviously like
not,
just animated, and then
but it was like all the ideas they had. Like at one point, he rips off a pit cop's arm, and then like he carries it with him, like as if it's going to be a melee
weapon. Yeah, I was just confused about how the fuck. Like, they put Guerrilla Radio by Rage Against the Machine behind this, and I'm just like, I can't think of a character. It just didn't work for me. It was
it's like the one part of the whole thing that just kills the trailer, to be honest.
Yeah.
Or the idea of
I mean, it's a great song. It's just like
if it was playing Grab Bag, like the theme song, I would be fucking totally down with it.
Yeah.
Like, I get why they did, because there's the line at the end or whatever where it's like things that everything has a start or whatever.
Right.
That's what they were going for, but it still just kind of annoys me.
Yeah, it just doesn't fit, especially if you know like what Rage Against the Machine is.
Yeah, actually, exactly. It makes it that much worse, actually. But like, if I could take like that song out of it and just put the actual Duke Nukem theme to it, this probably would be really fucking just hype as fuck.
Or that Megadeth cover of the Duke Nukem.
Yeah, exactly. It'll just be hype as shit.
Yep, but this never gonna happen.
Between finding out that this was something that was going to be made and the 3D Realms, thing, like the IP battle just fucking canceled every Duke Nukem thing they wanted to make, like whether it was through Gearbox or 3D Realms, and that's a shame because I want more Duke Nukem. Although apparently, like somebody bought all those studios or something recently.
I think it was like, what was it like the who the fuck was it? Is it like the people that own? Oh God, hold on. I can figure this out. I'm smart, sort of. Sometimes.
Yeah, because apparently, like they bought a bunch of studios that have all that stuff, so the IP thing might finally die down, and maybe I don't know. Like it's that slimmer of hope that I've been hearing. That's just like maybe.
It was Embracer Group, which used to be THQ Nordic.
Okay.
Who's got like a shitload. So they got 3D Realms, Crazy Labs, Deca Games, Digix Art, Easy Trigger, Ghost Ship Games, Grimfrost, and Slipgate Ironworks. Okay.
Yeah, apparently like they're part of the parent company also like has some stake in Gearbox.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So it's like that slimmer of hope that everybody's just like, well, maybe. I don't know.
I get the feeling that fucking Randy Pitchford is going to be a dick about it.
He would be.
It's going to be a fucking like just a no because my feelings are hurt. Like
we just need to kill Randy Pitchford. I'm just saying.
Rage Select does not endorse anybody killing Randy Pitchford.
Rage Select as a whole does not endorse it, but maybe.
Well, speaking of. Who's the guy who's in Blood Dragon, who's also in Aliens Marines?
Michael Biehn.
Michael Biehn. Speaking of Gearbox and Michael Biehn, Blood Dragon. So this story was kind of a nothing burger. Basically, like last time when they had Far Cry 5, part of the pre-order bonus was to get like the Far Cry 3 remaster.
Yeah.
And part of the bonus, and then eventually that Far Cry 3 remaster ended up getting split off into its own IP or into its own
like classic
SKU.
or whatever.
Yeah. The question now is that since Far Cry 6 is going to have Blood Dragon as its pre-order bonus, is that eventually going to be broken off into its own SKU? There are some indications that yes. This was just because it was individually rated by the ESRB on their website.
Oh, okay.
But of course it's going to be. They always do this eventually.
I'd buy it.
It's just the fucking Modern Warfare remaster.
That's right. Yeah,
fucking Infinite
that was
Warfare.
A whole fucking thing.
We'll never sell it separately, and then like 6 months later, they totally sold it separately, and it was fine.
And they just made all that fucking money. So,
Yep.
Made out like bandits.
Banditos. Life is Strange remaster has been delayed to 2022.
That's strange. Sorry, I had to say it.
Life is Strange. The Life is Strange remaster was supposed to be coming out at the same time as Life is Strange True Colors.
Oh yeah,
but they pushed it back a little bit because they want to continue to work on it. Also, Life is Strange True Colors for the Switch has been pushed back as well. However, Life is Strange True Colors for modern consoles and the PC is still on deck to be released normally.
Okay.
And the Switch version got pushed back from, I believe, September 10th to September 30th. So not that big of a deal. Hey, good news for you, Michael. The Evil Dead game has been delayed to add single player content.
Ooh.
So I think that they got the message from the fans that like nobody wants to play your 4-on-1 bullshit, especially after Back 4 Blood. I mean,
yeah, Back 4 Blood's coming out. It's just like, yeah, it's kind of made a bad time to make this 4 fucking player thing to come out.
Not just that, but you know that next Tuesday, as of this coming out, that Aliens Fireteam game comes out.
Oh shit, yeah.
Like, there's a lot of PvE action games coming out.
It's like, look, I like the Evil Dead, but I just don't feel like I know enough people who don't want to be Ash to play that game.
It's made for a single player campaign, mowing down Deadites, like, you know, kind of doing your thing.
What's the thing? It's just like, I want to be Ash, and I don't want to be in a part of a 4-player thing where I'm not the one who gets to be fucking Ash.
Sure.
Like, sure, I like those other characters, but I still want to be Bruce goddamn Campbell.
Yeah, because what are the other characters are Kelly Maxwell, Pablo, Simon Bolivar, Scotty, Lord Arthur, Cheryl Williams, Henry the Red, and more. It's like, well, I only want to be one person.
I just want to be the one dude. Like, yeah.
Person. You know what? I would totally be Ash from the Evil Dead remake because she's a badass.
Okay,
so,
I'd be cool with that, yeah.
Spoiler alert for Evil Dead remake. I like that movie.
It's a good movie, actually. It's really good, actually.
Speaking of ladies with a bunch of grime on their face, Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice got an update on the Xbox Series X, Series S, and you'll never believe it, Michael. It's 4K and 60 frames per second with ray tracing.
The deuce, you say?
I do say. Don't you take deuces on my dialogue. It's late. It's late.
Yes, it's late. We've been talking news quite a bit, actually.
Yeah.
It's probably the longest podcast we've done in quite some time.
It's all news. It's actually, yeah. Dead by Daylight has patched Pyramid Head's ass. I don't know if you remember the controversy where there was a patch and people claimed that they nerfed Pyramid Head's ass.
Did they seriously?
And they made it flat.
I remember that story.
It used to be curvy and then they made it flat. Apparently there was an update where they said Pyramid Head's behind was never nerfed. That said, we recently found a bug on one of his outfits, the Corrupted. The cloth covering his butt had clipping issues, which made it, well, flat. We fixed it, and it'll be pushed live in our next update this Tuesday. I hope that you and our community agree on the level of roundness. I know that you've been closely monitoring the situation. This is a statement to a website.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so the Pyramid's ass has been restored to its rightful glory. Is that
he
the
keeps
right
trying
word?
to sneak up on the people, but the thickness of his,
slapping together.
They keep slapping, and they keep finding out he's coming.
Yeah. Let's see.
I don't remember the fucking phrase, guys. I'm tired.
Some crazy man made like this weird 3D printed map of Grand Theft Auto 5.
Oh, wow.
And it's like he did it. This is so fascinating. I read this whole article. The thing is that like the map didn't actually exist. So this guy like went into Grand Theft Auto 5 with this tool that he wrote to basically like map each area. So he had to go to an area and have it load all the way in, and then he would map it. And then once he had this map, he had to stitch it together, and he 3D printed like these panels that then had to be like cleaned up and worked together to make this giant like 3-dimensional map of Grand Theft Auto 5. Apparently it took about 100 hours to do the mapping of the city and then the printing apparently for like, you know, easy places it was like an hour or two, but for like the downtown areas it'd be like 12 hours because of all the little buildings and details
areas,
and stuff. But the end result's pretty cool. It's all white.
Well, it's because it's printed, so
because it's 3D printed, but it's still pretty cool looking.
So he could probably hire somebody to paint it, but that would take so long.
It'd take a long fucking time. But still pretty cool, right?
It's super fucking cool.
He's been talking about doing Red Dead next. He says already 200 hours into Red Dead 2 mapping because that map is fucking
well, it's massive because it has the fucking map from part 1 in it.
Yep. And last but not least, Michael, I saved this one right for you. Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
Spider-Man. So what was this? Disney and Marvel sold a Spider-Man NFT. It's not. They said it's not, but it is.
It's really garbage too. Is the thing? It doesn't even look good.
Yeah, it was a 3D model of Spider-Man that they were selling. They were selling some between $40 and $400. This is a fucking NFT, and it is garbage.
Oh, it's awful.
It looks so bad.
It reminds me of the PS2 game. Like it looks like that.
Yep.
Like it, but not even that detailed as the PS2 game kind of did.
Yep.
Like it looks awful. Like 100%. Like it's like, what the fuck, guys?
Yeah. I mean, I guess they're trying to dip their toe in. Apparently, they're all sold out or whatever. But
I guess it's just, it looks awful.
And Michael, I bought one for you.
Jesus.
That's not true. I didn't do that. I didn't waste my money on fucking NFTs.
Don't fucking do that shit.
I bought you nothing. I bought you the idea of owning a thing.
I'd rather you buy a star that's named after me or something than this shit.
That's cool. We're just going to name a whole constellation after Rage Select.
We should do that, actually.
That's our show. Hope you all enjoyed it. There was a lot this week.
It was.
MailRageSelect.com is the email address. I'm sorry we didn't get to any questions. I do need to start pruning. I feel like the last couple weeks I did a better job pruning, and then today I kind of rushed through it, just left a lot of stories. There's
a lot that we could talk about.
Is that fucking 3-hour Xbox? If Microsoft fucked me, that's what happened this week.
Yeah, it really did.
Anyway, Michael, tell the people where they can find you when you're not over here. Help me out.
You can find me on oneofus.net. We do a lot of movies and television reviews. I did some reviews for a few movies that came out not that long ago. Ride the Eagle was one that I recommend.
Okay.
And I know there's a review for it, so yeah.
Yeah, go listen to the review. And go watch Suicide Squad. Or don't. I mean,
watch the Suicide Squad, not Suicide Squad.
I don't know.
It's a completely different movie.
Yeah, just do whatever you want to. Like, I'm not here to tell you what to do. That's not my job. That's
also,
not my
watch
job.
Harley Quinn. That show's great.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely do that.